Hey, it's Colleen.
Hi, it's Kate.
And it's Megan.
And we're the
Three Scheme Queens. Join us as we discuss popular hoaxes and give you our comedic take on what is fact and what is fiction. If you have a sense of humor and an open mind, come take this journey with us.
We'll tell you what we think, and we'll try to prove it to you.
Is the swing on?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
How are you doing? That's my 1950s.
Judy Garland.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I mean. Welcome to the show.
Oh, read all about it. That's what Jess on New Girl always says. Like, she's like, read all about it.
You know what I mean.
Doll.
A real good podcast.
Colleen, you just got back from Disney.
I have arrived from so many adventures, but one of them included Disney World.
So I can't wait to get your input on today's
Megan
episode.
gave me a lot of homework for this episode. Like, no spoilers, but a lot of homework. I had a list, and I wasn't going to leave the park till I checked everything off the list.
I will say I gave her one of the conspiracies today, and she debunked it and has photo evidence. So we'll talk about that.
Oh, I
The
did
police?
without even knowing it.
Guys, just a reminder, don't forget to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages at 3 Scheme Queens. That's the number 3 Scheme Queens, all one word. We're also on Reddit, same username. If you want to check out our website, go to 3schemequeens.com and you can find links to our social media accounts, our Buzzsprout page, all of our episodes, additional content, our contact page, and our discussion board where you can engage with us and share any updates on the topics that we have discussed. Let us know how we're doing and what you want to hear next. There are also opportunities to financially support us. There are links to buy us a cup of coffee, links to our recently updated merch store, and affiliate links. And as always, if you choose not to financially support us, we appreciate the follows, the downloads, listens, the likes. Kate, what should the people do?
Yeah, they should scroll on down, leave us a 5-star review, leave us a comment, share us with your friends and family, share us on your social media platforms, share us in your family group chat. And yeah, thanks for supporting the pod.
So is it time for our
Drink check.
Kate, what are we drinking today?
Alrighty, Roo. We are having some rare gingers. TM.
I was
Trademark.
confused when you were saying that. So it's not a real thing? Isn't it just called a whiskey ginger?
We got here, Kate said, guys, I don't have anything for drink check. And so we rated Bourbon Boy's bourbon stash.
Yeah.
And we found something.
Bourbon Boy was like, you guys can't have any of this stuff.
It's too good.
It's too good. It's my good stuff. You drank all my my cheap stuff.
I mean, a couple days ago, Kate said, you should come over, Megan. Bourbon Boy will make us some hot toddies. And he was surprised when I got here. I was like, where's that toddy? And he was acting like he was down to the dregs at that point. So
Yeah.
I probably was.
I should have come prepared. And then he went out and got us ginger ale.
Yeah.
So-
And some Wild Turkey 101. But we're not drinking Wild Turkey.
Oh, we're not. What are we drinking?
No. Eagle
Rare.
Rare.
Ooh, I have
AKA
wild.
Rare Ginger. Don't worry, I'll post this to the Instagram for the recipe. It's very complicated. So it's 1 part bourbon, 2 parts ginger ale. We're using Canada Dry because there's
the only good
no other ginger ale that is worth anything. Canada Dry forever. Shout out Michaela.
Okay. Shall we get into it, ladies?
Let's get in.
Let's do it.
Have you guys ever had a childhood before?
Yes.
You ever watch movies growing up?
Yeah.
Channel
Yeah.
25, channel 50.
Mine was
channel
54.
255. Yeah. These are all the Disney channels. Today we're channeling in to the conspiracies behind Mr. Walt and the wall he hides behind.
Oh.
That was a really nice ad lib
There you
from
go.
Colleen. Thank you for
Yeah,
getting us
no
started.
problem, no problem.
I'm going to start by saying I reached out to the Redditors and I said, we're doing a Disney episode. Tell me what your favorite Disney conspiracy is. And I got a lot. So I was going to just start with some of those and then we'll get into them. So the first thing I learned is more of a fun fact, but apparently Kelvington tells us that in Orlando, that's where you went, right? So we're talking Disney World here.
Yep.
Anything over 200 feet tall needs a flashing light on the top for aviation. So they intentionally built the castle to be 195 feet tall so they wouldn't have to put this light on.
Oh, wow.
Except they messed up because they didn't account for the tunnels, which we'll talk about.
The tunnels.
The tunnels are 12 feet. So the castle doesn't start until 12 feet above the tunnels, the utilidor, if you will.
Interesting.
And so the castle's actually 207 feet tall. Oops. And then, interestingly, the Tower of Terror is 199 feet exactly.
Wow.
Tower of Terror at Disney World?
Yep. It's in the Hollywood Studios section, which I didn't get to ride that this time, but
Do you like
I
Tower
love
of Terror?
that. I
No.
don't normally like sudden drops, but that one has such a cool build up. Like the waiting in line, first of all, AC'd. Second of all, really cool. And then the people who work on that ride, fully committed. 110%.
First time I went to Disney World, I was 8 or 9 years old. My dad really wanted to ride the Tower of Terror. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll do it. We get on the ride. And for anyone who hasn't done Tower of Terror, it is like a lot of buildup.
Did you know what you were
before-
getting into?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like a lot of buildup before you get to the drop. So you get on and they like take you through this like tunnel of unsolved mysteries and the whole time, and it's like dark and you can't see anything, and I'm next to my dad and I'm just like anticipating the fall. When is it gonna happen? So then you finally get on this like elevator shaft and they take you up and then they put you at the top, open the windows, and then drop you. They dropped and then they flung me back up, didn't stop at the top, and then you fell.
Yeah.
And
There's a
after
different pattern every time.
yeah, there is a different pattern every time. I was terrified. On the picture, I was like squeezed down next to my dad, like gripping this like bar that went across your lap. And that was how I looked. And for years afterwards, I was so terrified of elevators, I took the stairs everywhere.
Oh my God.
That kind of tracks for you.
Yeah.
Well, this is my
killed it.
memory that previously, I think I was maybe thinking of like Jaws at Universal Studios or something.
yeah.
And so then I was probably college age and we did the Jungle Cruise ride, and it's like very boring and child friendly, and you just like are on the boat and you go through and there's like all these little animals. But I was so sure that like something was going to come out of the water, like the Jaws ride. And I just remember at one point I like screamed and dove to the ground and nothing had happened. And all the little kids on the ride were looking at me like something was wrong with me. Like I was crazy.
The Jungle Cruise ride is like a humor ride.
Yeah,
Like
it's like a
it's supposed
very
to be comedy.
I don't remember being funny, but I just remember being really boring. It was
Like,
not scary is the point.
people
Nothing was
on
jumping out at
on
you.
the boat are like cracking jokes the whole time.
I don't know, but
That's so funny.
nobody acknowledged. Nobody was like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" It was just all these. I was like, "Ah!" and I leapt, and all the little kids were staring at me like there was something wrong with
my
me.
God.
Then college?
Yeah.
I could not.
That's even worse. That's so embarrassing. I was only 8.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, Megan. I cannot.
Okay, Jazz Like Muscle 104 responded to our Reddit request. My favorite sounds like a conspiracy, but really happened Disney story is the sleight of hand used to acquire the land to build the Disney World theme park in Florida. And so pretty much Disney created all of these like company names. So there's like
Okay.
Latin American Development, Reedy Creek Ranch, Bay Lake Properties. Those are some examples. And these are the names you will find now on the windows of Main Street, USA in the Magic Kingdom. So these were just like dummy corporation names that Walt and Roy Disney used to purchase 27,000 acres of swampland in Florida for under $200 an acre in 1965.
Wow.
And then they had some shady characters who helped them with this. Paul Hallowell, who ran the CIA operations in Southeast Asia, and William Wild Bill Donovan, who was former head of the OSS. So that was like before the CIA was the CIA.
Whoa.
They were hired by Walt Disney to help plan and carry out this operation. Disney's team, led by his brother Roy and his lawyer Richard Irvine, purchased land through various shell companies and intermediaries. By doing so, they kept their true intentions hidden from the public and landowners because they were like, if everyone knows we're going to build this big Disney World,
gonna be mad.
then like land prices are going to skyrocket. These people who own the property are going to hold out, for more money. So they wanted this all to be like top secret. And they codenamed it Project X. It was kept completely confidential to avoid attracting any attention and inflating prices. And then this allowed Disney to buy land at lower prices. So once it came out, I think there was a lot of anger from the landowners who had sold their land.
I'd be pissed too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that, right? It stands up in court what he did, right?
Oh, I know.
This is all legal. It's just unethical.
Okay.
But so then when people started to get annoyed, they're like, wait, something big is happening here. And they were like, oh, it's Ford. Ford is building something.
Oh.
So then people were all mad at Ford, and
Why
Ford
did
had,
it was Ford?
because that's what Walt Disney told them. But Ford or that's like whatever the group leaked.
Yeah.
But Ford had nothing to do with this. So now people are like mad at Ford. Disney's doing their top secret purchase. So initially when he was doing this, the land he was buying up he was getting land for $80 an acre.
Oh my God.
And then we came to that average because towards the end, when people figured it out, they started having to jack up the price. And they've actually only developed a third of the land they purchased, and a quarter of the land remains a nature preserve.
Wow.
And then the next step in like this fishiness was that Disney and Hallowell came up with this plan to set up a puppet government. So they established 2 phantom cities, and this would allow them to be able to pay themselves taxes from the profits. So they can build airports, they do their own waste removal, their own fire department, all of that. And then in order to run for office, you have to own land on this property. So, well, Disney owns everything, right? So they just like pick a couple of loyalists and they appoint them. They're like, you have this little bit of land, and so now you get to be a representative when we have to go to like state it. Like they just pretty much made themselves a city so that they could have all of the city rights, and it's making them more money. They're not getting taxed as much. It's just like all kind of a big scam.
Wow.
So, but now let's get into some of the big theories, okay?
Okay.
So the most famous one that I think most people have heard about, if you're listening to this, is definitely this one. What do you think it is?
Frozen head.
That's right.
Yeah.
The cryogenics theory. So the theory goes that in 1966, Walt Disney was cryogenically frozen after he died. Some theories say it's his head. Like
I
you
thought
said,
it was just his head.
just his head. Some say it's the whole
But-
body.
I think that because of Family Guy.
Oh, did they like do that?
Or Futurama or one of those
I'm
adult
sure they
cartoon
made fun of
shows.
it.
Yeah. Adult Swim.
So the purpose of him doing this is that he hoped future technology would allow him to be revived. Some of the rumors also state that where his head is being stored, his head or body is being stored
Underneath it.
underneath what?
The castle?
Oh, the Pirates of the Caribbean is what.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What?
Because the Pirates of the
Interesting.
Caribbean was being built when he died, and it opened 3 months after his death.
So interesting.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other stuff about Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Did you know, first of all, that the movies were based on the ride?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But did you know that when they first
didn't know
built
that.
Pirates of the Caribbean, they used real skeletons
Because it was cheaper.
because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
And since
knew
then,
that.
they have replaced them, but apparently there's still like 1 or 2 skulls that are.
Oh, I'm very
Real.
intrigued. Which ones?
don't
I
know.
rode that like 3 times. This past trip.
Wow.
Ooh.
It's very relaxing.
It's the coolest ride. You wait in AC, you sit in AC. It smells good.
As I recall, last time I went, aren't there like pirates chasing prostitutes and stuff?
Yeah.
Are they like is it the same still?
Yeah.
They haven't brought it into 2020.
No,
Okay.
I mean sex work is pro sex work.
we don't even call it sex work anymore, right?
Oh, I thought we did. I
What
thought
is it?
sex workers was the unoffensive.
No,
term.
let's see. What is
What are you
it?
supposed to call them?
Let me see.
Everybody's furiously
Oh,
googling.
you might
what's
be
woke.
right.
I'm woke. I don't know. I get a lot of sex workers on my TikTok,
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
they're like
I'm a
legit
sex
sex
worker.
workers. Like they live on camps, and men travel to them.
Oh, like in Vegas?
Yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And then there's a sex worker. I don't follow them. Okay, they just pop up on my For You page. Okay, I don't know what I do to get these sex workers on my For You page, but it's very eye opening. And this one's in Australia, and apparently it's legal to be a sex worker in Australia.
Mm.
She's living the good life, guys.
Uh-huh.
I got not to normalize sex working, but she makes a lot of money and lives comfortably.
I am of the old realm that I'm like a
You're
sex
anti
worker.
sex worker.
Yeah. I am anti-sex
I know.
worker.
It's very
I
controversial.
say, if it's a choice you are making, you have control, and you are keeping your proceeds. You do you, girl. Doesn't mean it's for you or me or Colleen.
Yeah.
But
Do you?
you do you. Back to the original question, though. Oh, and then along with this cryogenics theory is the theory that the whole reason that the movie Frozen was created
It's because he's frozen.
is so that when you Google Walt Disney Frozen, the stories don't
Oh
pop up
my God.
anymore.
Like the Taylor Swift move.
Yeah,
You don't see her about her jets anymore.
that's right.
Well, that's
you-
kind of a power move.
When you Google Taylor Swift Jets, you see a photo of her at a Jets game. You don't see
Oh my God.
the statistics about her jet use.
That's so interesting.
Mhm.
Walt.
So I guess why would this happen, right? I mean, he had the money. Cryogenics was new in the years leading up to his death.
What year did
sorry.
he die?
1966.
66. Okay.
1966. So Bob Nelson was the president of the Cryonic Society of California, and he's the one who told the press that Walt wanted to be frozen, and that's where this probably came from. But he also said that he hadn't completed the paperwork in time. So this could have all just been a PR stunt for this guy who's trying to get other people
Wow.
to pay him a lot of money to, freeze them.
Were there
Right.
people frozen?
I mean, apparently there's a Cryonic Society of California.
Oh my God.
To debunk this, there are records that he was cremated. Also, though, they're always
he?
cremated, right?
Yeah.
Though we can't verify.
Darn it.
But there's paperwork that he is cremated at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale.
Mm.
And his daughter, Diane Disney, issued a rebuttal. And she just said, I doubt my father had even heard of cryonics. So
Yeah, but does she know?
Yeah, she doesn't know.
She doesn't know.
Isn't Walt wasn't he kind of creepy?
you guys
I
are,
mean,
he was creepy. And we're
got
going
a tiny little mice voice.
he was just maybe not as nice as,
You think Mickey's creepy?
Hey guys. Yeah.
He's for kids.
okay. So the next thing that I think a lot of people know about, and what came up a lot on the Reddit thread was the tunnels. So,
Oh.
so if you're unfamiliar, the utilidors are these tunnels that are used to allow cast members to get around easily. And they were allegedly built because Walt was like walking around and he saw a cowboy cutting through Tomorrowland and he felt like that negatively impacted the experience. So there's also like a train station down there so they can move like ride parts around, and like landscaping and plumbing all runs through there. There's lots of storage space. There's a lot of stuff for the employees down there. There's a mouseketeria, a cafeteria.
God.
There's a
I wanna
hair
go
salon
there.
to maintain those strict Disney requirements. A lot of the restaurants that the public eats at, like the food prep areas and storage, are down there. And that's how the trash transportation system works. It's like through a vacuum. So I don't know necessarily, I know we always like tunnels. What's happening in the tunnels? And we'll talk a bit about the trafficking theories, but the tunnels don't sound that suspicious to me.
No.
My cousin did the college Disney program,
Uh-huh.
and then she worked for Disney after that. She did it like 3 years in a row. They're real.
Well, the tunnels are there.
Yeah.
But
but-
the question is like, is something fishy happening?
No, that's just how they get to where they need to go.
Yeah.
And then there's
That
like
makes sense.
very strict, like you touched it a little bit. There's very strict Disney rules specifically for the characters.
Yeah.
So like the costume characters. So like there cannot be two Mickeys in one part of the park.
Right.
So they use the tunnel system to get
Right.
them separate.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about if there were too many.
There's
Yeah.
so many rules. And if you're in costume and if you even remotely see another person in your costume, you're told to like hide
Ooh.
as quick as you can to not ruin the magic.
There's also like all these my roommate in college tried out to be a princess.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
It is really hard. She ended up being like the understudy. Like she
Wait, that's kind of a flex.
yeah.
There's very strict like height requirements.
Yeah. Right. They can't be
Mhm.
over 5'3".
Yeah, you have to be very
And,
strict
like,
to be a princess.
The hair color doesn't matter because every princess has to wear a wig no matter what.
Mhm.
So that the hair looks the same every time a kid meets you.
Mhm.
But it is so strict. No.
I also heard they can't release you until the kid release. So if they hug, the kid has to
Let go
let
first.
go first.
Oh, really?
But I
There's
think that
so
would
many
be
rules.
awkward.
That could be so awkward. What if you
Like
wanna-
Joey
I think
might
he's
just
side
never
hunt.
let go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Well, that's why they always have a helper. They always have like their
So like a
partner.
distraction. or
Yeah.
something. So I did do a little deep dive to try to figure out. Like,
although, wait, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
A parent would probably be like, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Let go of Mickey.
Yeah.
Let go of Mickey.
And I'd always heard, honestly, I think my mom used to tell me stories about like where she heard, I couldn't fact check this, but that like, you know, they can find any kid in Disney in like minutes.
Yeah.
And the first thing they'd ask you is like, what was he wearing? And is he right-handed or left-handed? I like to follow Brunch with Babs. She's a grandma who gives a lot of
honestly,
tips.
I want to be Brunch with Babs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did give like some airplane tips one time, like to the airport. And one of the things she said is when you're in the security line, you know, you tend to want to go in the direction, like when it splits off, they've checked your driver's license. You want to go in the direction that is your dominant hand.
Really?
And most people are right-handed. So most people instinctively go right. And so if you're in the security line, you should go left.
Oh.
And so I've tracked this with my friends multiple times and I've always come out first going left.
I'm
Oh,
going to start doing that now.
So I did learn this, but my mom was saying that that's also with Disney. Like they'll be like, are they right-handed? They're right-handed. So then they can like plot
where they're going to
where they think they would go, and they've got cameras everywhere. And Silly Stan 4470 says, but also child trafficking.
Question mark.
Disney is near Epstein Island and bought it. Children are more likely to, quote, take a private tour with their favorite character and then boom, vanish.
Oh.
So I did a little digging. Like, do we have any known cases of like trafficking at Disney? And I couldn't find much. What I did find is that like last year, 4 Disney employees were among 108 people who were arrested in connection with an undercover human trafficking operation in Florida. But there's no indication that any of these crimes like occurred at a Disney resort.
Interesting.
In 2014, CNN reported that at least 35 Disney employees have been arrested for sex crimes against children, attempting to meet minors for sex and possession of child pornography over an 8-year span.
I believe that.
That's creepy.
But again, it doesn't sound like this is happening necessarily like at Disney. It's just like where you find children, you're going to find predators, and it's really sad and unfortunate. So pretty much, I guess my takeaway is I haven't seen any like creepy Disney crimes happening, but it does make sense. It's like when we unfortunately see things about, you know, teachers or whatever, that while the majority of that population is positive, it is a place that's going to attract people with negative
That's such
motivation.
a depressing view,
Right.
but
Yeah. There was also some Disney Dream Cruise had a couple of situations. In 2014, after a crew member on the Disney Dream cruise ship was caught on security cameras molesting an 11-year-old girl, Disney authorities failed to report the crime until after the ship had left port, which allowed the man to evade arrest. And then when one of the security officers protested with like the plan, the Disney authorities allegedly told her to keep her mouth shut. And so I would say, again, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the dark side of Disney and how they really do try to cover up things and keep their squeaky clean image. To be fair, this is all disgusting, heinous. We can all agree, right? But also the Me Too movement didn't really gain traction until 2017. So, I mean, I think for sure the management, how people handled these situations was definitely, you know, different before then. But again, I didn't find anything on like people actually trafficked at Disney, at any Disney resort.
I mean, I have thought for a long time, like losing a kid in Disney would be,
But apparently it's near impossible. That's what
I don't know. There are so many cast members. Literally,
they have cameras everywhere. They have security everywhere. I think that's, again, I was trying to find statistics to reference that because of the story my mom had told me, and I have not. I could not find like statistics, but what I've always heard is that they can find any kid within minutes anywhere in the park.
And you can't just like exit. Like there's no like getting out unnoticed. You know what I mean? Like they'd catch that. And even when you exit the Disney parks, you're at Disney resorts. Like it's still Disney. They still have a way to find you.
Yeah. I've always thought that magic band, they should put a tracker in it.
Oh, I didn't
because you just wear it around the park, right?
You don't have to. I have a card. I had a card. Mine was like I didn't feel like it's like $50 a band. I didn't feel like paying that.
Yeah.
So I used a card.
I am gonna get ear tags and put them on my kids.
That is smart though.
Again, I guess going into like Disney's dark side. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories that suggest that Disney tries to give off this like happy, you know, magical, positive vibe, and they do a lot to cover up any dark, sinister elements behind that cheerful public image.
Right.
And so one that comes up a lot that I think you can maybe give us a little bit of insight into is this theory that nobody dies at Disney. So they say allegedly that like they will move dead bodies outside of the park in order to avoid having to report the deaths as like on site. And I think part of that is that like a lot of people are not declared dead wherever their event happens, right? You take them to the hospital and they're declared at the hospital for the most part.
Right.
To debunk this, I did actually find a report. There have, in fact, been 93 fatalities caused by 90 separate incidents at Disney. And so those are ones where like they were actually declared there. So I think this is not true that nobody died at Disney.
Debunked. Yeah.
I was going to say I listened to a whole podcast about all the people that died at Disney.
And so, yeah, debunked.
Yeah, it's debunked. You said 93. I think when I read it or I listened to it, it was like 87.
What was the worst one?
I can't remember.
Oh.
I think it's probably a lot of like heat exhaustion, heart attacks.
There was one that they were flown from the roller coaster.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was a kid.
This kid, I think he's one of these.
Like they faked the height.
But then, like, stemming off of this is this theory that you don't want it. They don't want like, or like maybe part of the reason for this is they don't want like ambulances to be coming into Disney. They want it to be a positive, cheerful scene. And so I was told that also there are no uniformed, like there's no police officers, there's no EMTs because they want it to be like a happy scene. They don't want to concern anybody. But while Colleen was on her trip, she sent us a picture of police officers in uniform patrolling in Disney, right?
But they're Disney police officers. So like their uniform, if you looked closely, I don't think I got a front shot because I was taking these pictures really creepily. Their logo has like the Disney D on it. Like it's like very clearly Disney branded. But I did not see any EMTs, which I expected to see because of how hot it was.
Yeah.
But there's like Disney first aid centers, but they're everywhere, but they're not noticeable. So
we should have asked your cousin about this because apparently there is also a rumor online. They had like excerpts from contracts that the Disney characters sign. And there's a part in there that says if they have a medical emergency, CPR will not be started until the character has been removed from sight. And only then can their costume be removed and resuscitation started because they don't want any kids to see like Snow White getting CPR or Snow White's costume coming off and her getting CPR.
Oh my gosh.
How is that legal? Do they sign a paperwork?
I think, yeah, it's in there. It's in the contract. It's like a.
I don't know if I believe that.
Colleen, did you get a response from your cousin?
Yeah, this is a shout out to my cousin Becky. She was a Disney employee, and her friend was like when you're a character, you're like a friend of the character, but she didn't tell me what character. So if I dress up as Mickey, you say, "Oh, I'm a friend of Mickey."
When you're not dressed up as Mickey.
Yeah.
Like when people are like, what do you do at Disney?
I'm a friend of Cinderella.
Yeah, because you can't say, I am Cinderella.
Yeah.
Oh.
But her friend was a friend of a character. I don't know what character.
Meaning she was actually a character guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was painful. She said, I inquired about the contract regarding medical emergencies. And she said, no, I never saw anything like that. We had a hand signal if we needed to get off stage for whatever reason, so we could leave whenever. But I assume that was if somebody, say, passed out in the costume, they'd clear the room just for safety reasons as well as keeping the magic alive, ? I don't know. I never experienced it happening or heard about it happening, but I did have to use the hand signal once because my hair bandana thing slid down over my eyes and I couldn't see. So I don't know if you'd have time to do a hand signal if you're having a medical emergency, but they do have communications.
I would like to rebut and say, did she read her whole contract?
Probably not.
Yeah.
And then Becky said this also was 10 years ago. So she probably doesn't really remember the fine details.
Yeah. I mean, most people, they're like, here, sign this. And what do you guys always read all the fine?
Never.
No.
Probably never.
No. Only lawyers read it all.
Yeah. Insane. Becky's friend also said, and I quote, yeah, I mean, I'd be very surprised if there was. The longest you're on stage is 45 minutes. And 45 minutes was always inside and air conditioned. But I don't know. I saw Stitch out and about on the streets. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know.
And then going on about Disney kind of protecting the family-friendly image. So this is an interesting one that I think we talked about as well before you left. So what you already knew about this, right? Describe the point like Walt for us, Colleen.
Oh, 2 fingers that way.
So Disney, is that what everyone, that's what the statue is, right?
That's what every picture, every statue, like the famous statue of Walt in front of the castle, his hands are like this.
Mhm.
The Disney point is
Yeah.
a thing. So if you listen, I only know this because I used to have a YouTube obsession and I used to watch YouTube vloggers, specifically YouTube vloggers of the people in the Disney college program. And they talk about you're only allowed to point in two different ways: your index and middle finger together, or your four fingers together.
Mhm.
And that's the only way you're allowed to point.
So do you know where the 2-finger point like Walt came from?
I do, but
Because I told you.
tell me all about it.
The 2-point like Walt came from the fact that he was a chain smoker. Every photograph of Walt Disney, he had a cigarette between his 2 fingers. And so obviously now that's kind of, looked down upon. We don't want to encourage our children to be smoking.
Right.
So they have edited out the cigarette in all of his photos. And so when you see the 2-finger point, he probably had a cigarette in his finger, between his fingers, that got removed.
And
Oh, neat. I'm looking.
But they've really leaned into it.
I'm looking at. I'm googling Walt Disney pictures.
He was apparently he was very compulsive, very anxious. We can relate to that. Heavy drinker, heavy smoker.
right.
Disney was racist, apparently.
I could have believed that.
That really
Everybody was.
Yeah, everybody was.
Well, you guys know better too about the
and he was in Florida.
you always reference the Steamboat Willie, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
in the old school Disney.
And like the Mount Everest, like the characters from Mount Everest, weren't they like known to be?
Oh no, you're talking
No,
about
Mount
Splash
Everest?
Mountain.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's what I'm talking
Apparently,
Well, I'm referring to the movies.
Okay.
So I know we're kind of going back and forth here between like Disney
The
resorts
rides
and
and the
and
movies.
Disney himself and the movies. So looking at his movies, this kind of stems from like the movies in the 40s.
I think we were a little less open to the perspectives of other people.
So in Dumbo, have you seen Dumbo?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The black crows are apparently racist. I haven't
Oh.
seen Dumbo in a long time, but I
I was trying to think of the plot of
Oh.
Bambi today. Couldn't remember any of it. What do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. What do you call a deer with no eyes, no legs? Still no idea. What do you call a deer with no eyes, no legs, and what is it? It's like no dick. Still no fucking idea. Isn't that a good one?
I guess the Black Servant and Fantasia. Fantasia was never my favorite. I hated it the first time I came.
So
out.
many Disney adults
Yeah.
love Fantasia.
I
Yeah,
fell
Fantasia.
asleep
Yeah.
watching Fantasia.
I don't
in
think
the-
I've ever seen the full movie.
But the big one is Song of the South. Have you seen it?
Well, it sounds racist.
Song of the South. No.
Well, you probably haven't. You know why? It's so offensive that Disney has pulled it and it can no longer be seen in public.
True.
Oh, okay. Briar Rabbit, Briar Fox, Briar Bear. Those characters from Splash
Are
Mountain were
racist?
in the Song of the South. The
Oh.
story follows 7-year-old Johnny, who is visiting his grandmother's plantation for an extended
Oh.
stay.
Okay.
Johnny befriends Uncle Remus, an elderly worker on the plantation, and takes joy in hearing his tales about the adventures of Briar Rabbit, Briar Fox, and Briar Bear.
That checks out.
No. It's criticized for his depiction of Black Americans in a post-slavery era.
Anyway, he was known reportedly for using racial slurs and not hiring a minority. So there was this thought already that he was like maybe racist. And apparently he anticipated that the Song of the South was going to be really controversial. And so he was like, well, let me see what I can do. Let's do a rewrite. We're going to try to make this less racist. And so he set up a meeting with NAACP, or he tried to, but the meeting never happened. And the movie was just released anyway. So it's like, it almost makes it worse that he didn't even just like release this movie and it was
Right.
bad. He was like, well, he didn't really
Yeah.
try. He was like, maybe we should do something, but I don't have the patience to wait around.
Yeah.
There was also some controversy about the company's unwillingness to hire minorities at Disneyland, as I mentioned. And then there's reports that Walt Disney was sexist. Some of his associates thought Walt didn't particularly like women. He didn't trust women or cats.
Or cats.
I don't trust a cat either.
What's wrong with cats?
Didn't you say cats are aliens?
Yeah, but I like my cat.
Yeah, but Benny's not like other
He's
cats.
not like other cats.
No.
Yeah.
He's a cool cat.
Yeah,
He didn't employ women except as inkers. So they were the ones who would like hand paint film. And apparently he forced them to work like 8-hour work weeks. And he infamously rejected a woman who submitted like a
Like a cartoon?
submitted an idea by saying quote, women do not do any of the creative work in connection with preparing the cartoons for the screen, as that work is performed entirely by men.
Well,
Once again, we have to remember it was a different era, but not cool, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, if it was racist, he was
I'm
probably
not,
sexist.
I mean, again, I'm not surprised. Have you seen the old, like, Disney princess movies? Snow White?
oh my God, so bad.
They're, well, listen, I'm not anti true love
And the prince saving the
prince
yeah.
saving a girl,
princess,
but I am anti dumb girls
Yeah.
because not all girls are dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Some are, but not all.
And then to the same point, Disney was allegedly a Nazi.
Oh.
So the theory is that he was a sympathizer until the invasion of Poland. Once the U.S. entered the war, it was kind of an unacceptable position to publicly hold. But during the war, Disney did make anti-Nazi pro-U.S. military cartoons. So you would think, wait, maybe not. Maybe he's not so pro-Nazi.
Maybe it was all a show.
But when you compare to the propaganda that was created by the Warner Brothers, it was like 2%. So like, just comparatively to everything else that was happening, the theory is that he was pro-Nazi, and then he was like, okay, well now, you know, I don't want to be communist, or like I don't want to be labeled a communist.
Right.
So I'm going to like really make a couple posters and call it a day. But he didn't do what everyone else in the entertainment industry was doing at the time. There's a Three Little Pigs scene in which the wolf was portrayed as a Jewish peddler, and then they actually had to remove and reanimate the scene.
Oh, wow.
And then there's the fact that in 1938, a month after Kristall Knot, which was like, that was the precursor to the Final Solution. So 90 Jews were killed. A month later, Disney personally welcomes Nazi director Leni Riefenstahl to his studios. To be clear, I guess no employees ever came forward to claim anti-Semitism, but he was a member of the Motion Picture Alliance, which was known to be anti-Semitic. So that's kind of, is that where this came from?
So he was a Nazi lover.
Maybe. And then someone did say,
Maybe Hitler escaped Germany and
in Disney?
hid out in Disney in the tunnels.
In the tunnels. But he had access
Well,
to
there's
drugs.
also rumors of a vault. There was a really good post on Reddit that I really wanted to dig into, and I couldn't find anything on it. So one user said, have you jumped down the underground vaults yet? Everyone knows Disney parks have expensive underground tunnels for staff, but it has been alleged for years that Disney built expensive doomsday vaults with planned social structure like the vision Disney had for the experimental prototype community of tomorrow, Epcot. They would train the inhabitants to rebuild the world in a better way after the cataclysm.
Okay.
The legends were the inspiration for the Fallout series of games. I'm not familiar with
I
games.
believe this. I believe all of this.
But when I Google like Disney vaults, all that comes up is the Disney films that are going back into the vault, if you will. And I'm like, is this the original
Were they trying
original
to hide it?
Google diversion tactic?
Oh,
I believe
my
it.
goodness.
I don't know.
I do believe that. Tomorrowland.
So literally
Well, that's
all,
in Tomorrowland's in Magic
You guys-
Kingdom.
yeah. So literally all I have on this conspiracy theory is what one poster wrote. But Epcot
Believe
was
it.
supposed to be his vision of like a utopia, right?
Right. I'm starting to think he's a little sinister.
A little creep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So briefly, we can just talk about, I know Colleen's excited about this one, the hidden messages in Disney films.
Oh yeah,
So people believe that Disney movies contain hidden or subliminal messages.
I only know of the one.
Well, specifically, there's so there's different theories. There's theories that like there's a lot of product placement. They're trying to subliminally push these products on us.
right.
That one's clear.
There's subliminal messaging about sex,
Mhm.
and then about some satanic stuff is also in there. Okay.
Oh my
Wait,
God.
I have a question. Was Walt Disney a Freemason?
You know what? I want you to hold that thought. I want you to hold that thought.
I'm
Okay.
pretty sure he was because I remember you listing a
Club
bunch of
33.
people.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, is he a part of the Illuminati?
Hold that
thought.
Okay.
Product placement. So I'll talk about a couple of those big ones. Steve Jobs was a majority investor in Pixar. So there's a lot of Apple product placement. 2001's Monsters, Inc. has a magazine ad for a new computer with the slogan Scare Different, which Apple's slogan then was Think Different.
Oh.
When did Walt Disney die?
She said
1966. That's the fifth time I've said it now.
Oh.
1966. And then have you guys seen Wall-E?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Wally.
Okay, that's right. Apparently,
Eve.
the character Eve, the extraterrestrial that takes an
Eve.
evaluator. You know
Yeah.
what this is talking about?
Yeah, you gotta say her name like that.
Say it.
Eve.
Okay. was made to look like a futuristic Apple product. In fact, when Eve powers on, the robot makes the same sound as the Apple MacBook.
Oh, I
booting
never
up.
noticed
Oh,
that.
neat.
So this doesn't really sound like, I mean, it just sounds like, yeah, you have a big investor. So
Obviously, you'd plug it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what.
I know the hidden message.
That is where we're headed. if
Yeah.
the generation after us can't get off the
Floating
TikToks.
chairs and big gulps.
Yeah, and just they're stuck to screens.
Yep.
So then we've talked about like the subliminal messages about sex. Okay. So
Yep.
the famous one, what's the one you know?
Little Mermaid.
Nope.
Oh, you both are right.
It's
What do you have?
Mufasa in the sky with the stars. He poofs into a penis.
No, you guys, you're close, but
Oh.
you're not quite right.
Oh. There's a penis in the sky. That's all I know. With stars.
Well, the penis is
In
in
the Little
Little
Mermaid.
Mermaid.
What am I thinking of?
Well, Simba's playing.
Guys, they did it to me.
The word sex comes up in the dust gets kicked up by Simba
Yeah.
and it spells out sex. And so the reality is that they actually intentionally did try to hide a word, but they claim, Tom Cito, who is one of the animators,
Oh, let me hear it.
he says it's supposed to be a shout out to the special effects and it's supposed to say SFX.
No, it
Um,
doesn't say that.
It doesn't matter.
It definitely is an SEX. I'm looking at it right
Yeah.
now.
Well, you got a screenshot because they have since removed it from the film,
God. Well, they did that on purpose.
or
By
at least the streaming version. When you stream it on
by
Disney, you can't see it.
removing it, they basically confirmed it.
It's like their own rebuttal, right?
Right.
Like their
There's
own...
no proof if you can't find proof.
If you look up Sleeping Beauty when she's ice skating, and then if you look at the pattern that her ice skate makes on the ice, it spells out sex. Okay, Toy Story. You know when he goes into the bad guys, like the neighbor,
Tough kids.
the
Yeah.
kid who breaks the toys and
Yeah,
breaks
yeah,
the toys,
He's problematic.
and there's like the two legs with the fishing hook on it.
Yeah.
It's because it's a hook her.
Oh,
The hooker.
my God.
And
That's
then-
funny.
That is funny. That was creative.
That's not subliminal. That's just when these shows put in a little bit of
Adult
That's
adult
humor.
humor.
I would say
Yeah.
that's like some internet cartoonist behind the screen being like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a hooker in this. Like,
I guess Hercules makes a reference to Oedipus, which
oh, well, obviously he does
Why is that obvious?
because it's Greek.
and then in Aladdin, there's allegedly a quote where you can hear a man saying, "Good teenagers, take off your clothes."
Oh my God.
In
But-
what?
In Aladdin, but
Oh.
I think this one has sort of been debunked
That one
because the
seems-
man is talking to a cat, and really what he allegedly says is, "Good kitty, take off and go."
Yeah, that makes more sense.
You can actually, if you go to Snopes, you can hear the audio clip. And I believe that was probably just like a misinterpretation.
Right.
In the movie The Rescuers, when they're flying through the air, there's if you pause at the right moment, so they're flying through the air and there's like a high rise behind them and you're seeing people in their windows. And there is a naked woman in one of the windows.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the rescuers.
Let me see. Let me see.
Naked woman.
Flip the screen. Oh,
No, she's like actually naked.
that's so funny.
And then what's the mermaid one, Kate?
The Little Mermaid.
There's a penis in like the
on the
castle
on the
cover. Hmm. And then as far as like satanic references, if you look at the Walt Disney logo, all in cursive,
Right.
the W and the Y make a 666.
Oh, let me see.
See, I believe all of these.
And then, well, I also feel like I saw something once where the guy had a mug. Here's what I saw. So if you get these mugs and it says Mickey inside, when you look at the reflection in the coffee, it says Wicked.
Whoa.
This one also, I think, is less. This was popping up in like the satanic references, and I'm not as impressed by this either. It just seems kind of like a stupid joke. But apparently, the Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen, who's
Oh, the Santa Claus.
the
with an
Santa
E at the
Claus,
end.
stars Tim Allen as an ordinary man who accidentally causes the death of Santa and has to take over the role as Santa. Okay, we've all seen it. I've
Yeah.
actually seen this.
I love Santa Claus.
That's a
But-
good one, but they ruined it.
On Disney Plus, there's a TV series about it. And
Right.
in one of the scenes, a group of elves greet Santa and with a joyous dance, and they have a sign, and it's supposed to say, "We love you, Santa," but it says, "We love you, Satan."
Well,
But then it's like part of a joke. Like Santa's like, he points, they all laugh, and they rearrange.
Yeah.
So people are like, "Oh my God, it's Disney," and they're trying to like mind
maybe
Control us.
control it.
yeah.
But I'm like, I just think it was like a
no, maybe
stupid joke.
they
it's just
wanted you to think it was a stupid joke.
Colleen, just until you said the Santa Claus with an E,
You didn't know what that
I-
meant.
no, I didn't notice it.
Yeah, Because it's the claws.
Yeah.
I learned that like a year ago. I was like mind blown.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought you
good.
spelled Santa Claus with an E. Do you spell Santa Claus with an E?
No.
I didn't get that either.
Wait.
Oh, because the
Santa
clause is that if you kill Santa, you have to become Santa.
Yeah. That's
Oh my
because
gosh.
in the first movie they're like read the clause and they like whip out the whole like not
Yeah.
contract. Yeah.
It's not spelled with an E.
Yeah. Because it's the clause. I literally learned that a year ago. It blew my mind.
You just blew our mind.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
So let's talk about Disney liking to rewrite history.
Okay.
So there's a theory that just says Disney will alter or sanitize historical facts in both the films and like in all the films and in the theme parks to present a more palatable version of history.
100%.
So I guess like the big examples, the Pirates of the Caribbean takes place in the 1700s, but there's no reference to slavery or anything. Have you seen The Princess and the Frog?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never seen it, but I guess
Tiana.
it takes place in the 1920s in New Orleans.
Mhm.
She's black, right?
Yeah.
But there's no reference to like segregation or
Well,
like is her.
she's clearly the poor girl.
She's also clearly only interacts with black people.
No, she works for a white family.
Yeah, she's like a maid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
But so
and
like
she lives in a black neighborhood. Like
Right.
that's the whole
that's
bit.
what I mean. Like she is
Is her prince black? Well, because I thought there was some
or
comment.
like
Nabib or something.
There was
is
some
it?
comment that they didn't address that like
It's not like
that interracial relationships were so uncommon and were like technically illegal. Like marriages were still illegal in the 20s. And so I got the vibe, having not seen the movie, that she was in some sort of interracial relationship where they just made it like a happy romance.
pretty certain he's like Hispanic or something along that line.
he actually looks like Middle Eastern.
Yeah. Well, his name is like Prince Nabib or something.
Naveen.
Naveen. And I would say it makes it clear that like she interacts with one type of person, but they don't make it depressing.
Naveen, like I said, it's an Indian name.
Indian.
And he's from Maldonia, which is a Eurasian country. The name is a mix between the Maldives and Macedonia.
So he's supposed
So
to be like
he's probably from like the Mediterranean, Eurasia.
Christ. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's very handsome.
he is really handsome.
The whole Pocahontas film entirely, the whole plot is unrealistic.
Savages, come on.
Well, that's a real story.
No, but I mean, isn't she like
No, like I think John Smith.
She gets like raped in real
Yeah,
life. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like
I like he's
brutal.
not a good guy.
No, and she's not like fall in love with John Smith.
No, it's
No,
brutal.
what the movie
And
portrays.
I believe she already had children and things like that.
The whole premise is
Yeah.
not. It's not happy.
And then, but I guess so. I think honestly, what I've gone through so far, I would say, is like probably what Colleen's trying to get at. Like these, 4-year-olds who are watching The Princess and the Frog probably don't need a lecture on
No.
slavery, but they have done a couple of things. Disney has also gone in and re-edited their films. We've made a couple references to things they've removed. Additionally, there's gonna be like French Connection. There's a scene with a racial slur. They went back, they cut that out. Saludos Amigos, which is a 1942 film, had a lot of cigarettes. They went in and they edited all those out.
Oh wow.
And then I guess in Toy Story 2, someone makes a crack about like a casting couch crack. And then, Me Too movement happened and they went back and they edited
cut
that out. So I don't know if that's like, I mean, I guess I have mixed feelings because the people online who are like, when I think with most films, you don't want to, we can say Gone with the Wind is like kind of cringe to watch now at parts, right?
Yeah.
But we wouldn't want to change that because it's sort of a reflection of the time. And so should we be like erasing cinematic history because people are going to look back on that when they're trying to kind of figure out how we lived?
No, we shouldn't erase
we should-
history to begin with.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I can see these points like we shouldn't be going back and editing movies because something that was not in poor taste in the 40s is like now in poor taste. But I also think it's a little different when we're talking about children's movies.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, right. I like going back to Tiana. Like, I don't think kids. I think it was what Colleen said. It was portrayed like very obviously to an adult. Like the segregation was obvious.
Child just saw somebody that looked like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like,
And that's what's important.
Exactly. I don't think what we should be focusing on is like
No, but what about these thoughts about these other films where Disney actually released? So like I said, that's one thing. That's the Disney has had some feedback or has gotten some like, a bad rep for like these movies I described, Pirates of the Caribbean, Princess and the Frog, Pocahontas, just being like not historically accurate. But then if we go into that separately, if we're talking about rewriting history, the second conversation is like these films they did make where they had, again, I said French Connection included a racial slur. They were smoking in Saludos Amigos in the 40s. They edited all of that out. They edited out, these jokes because they're no longer PC. And so the debate online is like, is that fair to have made a movie that was like with the times and now modern day be like, that was poor taste, I want to go back and erase that? Or is it better to keep it as it is so that, and we can all just look at it and recognize that like, wow, the 1940s, we've grown a lot since then.
Yeah.
I think it's better to use it as a lesson, but there's also so many freaking Disney movies. Like, why not just take that movie off?
Just be like, let's not, we don't.
And just,
Yeah, I mean, like Saludos Amigos. Is Saludos Amigos making any money right now, guys?
No.
I've never even heard of it.
No. Also, I want to just like, cancel culture is so like rampant that like they're probably just afraid to be canceled.
Yeah.
So that's like, if one person watched these Amigos movies, well, it's not the smoking that's gonna go viral, right? It's like what movie was it that the racial slur was in?
The French Connection.
So if one person watches that, they film it, it goes viral on TikTok, suddenly Disney's canceled. And unfortunately, that is the reality that we live in right now. Is cancel culture makes everyone afraid to post anything that doesn't go along with, a hive mind,
I'm with you. You're preaching to the choir, girl.
So do I think it's right? No. But are they doing it out of like self-preservation? That's what
they're not acknowledging the fact that it was racist. They're just deleting it.
Or you
like,
could also,
why can't you just like add
keep it up.
Yeah.
Say that it's racist. Like have a message in the beginning. Have a message at the end.
A trigger warning.
And, use it as like a growing pain and not like delete it from your existence. Like, we all know all these old movies were racist. Every single one of them was. Like learn from that.
But going back to what Kate said also about like all it takes is someone watching an old movie, recording it on their phone and it being on TikTok. And there are so many TikToks of people filming Disney shows with Illuminati references. There's like the one I can think of is like there's a Goofy, and it might be on Instagram from our Illuminati episode, but like he's got the Illuminati logo on the bottom of his skateboard. His skateboard wheels are triangle. It's like
wheeling.
Well, it's like triangle with a circle around it. But there's like in like a 3-second clip, there's like 5 references to the Illuminati. The theory is that Disney is somehow connected to the Illuminati, a secret society that we've talked about. Go back and listen to our Illuminati episode. It is a secret society that is associated with global conspiracies. So people who believe this argue that Disney's symbols and themes hint at a hidden agenda tied to global control or manipulation.
Yeah.
So like I said, there are people kind of referencing back to what Kate said who are watching old episodes of Disney and they're filming them and they're posting them on TikTok. And it's just like all these crazy Illuminati references.
I believe that.
In DuckTales, Scrooge goes to the doctor and there is a sign that reads in the background, "Ask me about the Illuminati."
What?
In Colleen's Denver airport episode, we talked a lot about the murals, right? The mural is like It's a Small World mural. And we already think that the Illuminati is based in the Denver airport, allegedly, right? And we know that he was a Freemason. Walt Disney was a Freemason. And if you believe that the Illuminati went underground with the Freemasons, maybe there's a connection.
It is definitely there. I'm looking at it. Ask about
the Illuminati.
That's crazy.
So then the final thing I want to talk about is Club 33. So Club 33 is an exclusive members-only club at Disneyland, and some conspiracy theories speculate about secretive or mysterious activities occurring within its walls. This is shrouded in mystery. The luxury experience is rumored to currently boast a wait list of up to 10 years to join, with a membership costing up to $50,000 for initiation. According to Disney, Club 33 is simply named after its address at 33 Royal Street in New Orleans Square at Disneyland. However, several others believe that there are other explanations behind the name. Most people think that there were 33 institutional patrons at Disneyland when it was first being built in 1966 to 1967. I heard this and I went, Club 33? the 33rd degree, which is the highest degree in Freemasonry. He was a Freemason. So
Ah.
I think Club 33 is probably a reference
to
to his
free.
Freemasonry.
Yeah,
But you can get
that
into
makes
it.
sense.
You just have to pay a lot of money.
Yes, but because of that, people assume that maybe there's more going on. But I'll tell you what I learned about what it probably is. So there are 4 Disney Club 33s. There's one in Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland, Shanghai Disneyland, and Walt Disney World. But each club is like a separate membership. So you can't go to all of them. You only can go to the one you are a member at. They have their own membership requirements. They're not interconnected. And so these clubs, it sounds like, are really just somewhere like little restaurants that hold 20 to 60 people at a time. And club members can make reservations for guests for formal dining. And then there's like levels, platinum or corporate members. You can bring guests with them for informal dining. But it sounds like it's probably just something like these celebrities maybe who like want to take a break from the paparazzi and the heat. They've paid a lot of money. They'd like bop on into Club 33. Someone on Reddit said, they wrote a post about their experience. I went for lunch with my husband back in February with 1 alcoholic drink each. It came out to about $125 per person with tax and tip. Once you ring the doorbell, they let you into a small reception area, and then you're escorted into the Court of Angels where you sip on some flavored water while you wait for your table. When your table is ready, you can either take the stairs or the now modernized elevator. Once upstairs, there's merchandise that you can purchase that's not available elsewhere. To the left is a hallway to the bathroom. Straight ahead is a salon nouveau, which is for members and their guests if accompanied by the member only. These people were not members. Their friend like made them a reservation. There's high back chairs and big windows, so you can like look out over Disney while you're eating. They had about a 2-hour lunch, and it was just them and another couple there. So it sounds like I just think it's like another money scam for rich people. I don't think that there's like secret anything happening.
Follow the money.
It's like 50 grand to get in, and then you have to pay like 10 grand a year. Is that what I said, right? It's like, and then it's like a yearly fee, and this is like just to have access to go pay for your meals. Like that's just like
Country club.
excessive.
Country clubs.
Country
A
club.
country club that you have to like, I just think also
Country clubs, you do have to pay.
paying to like get your, even if you're local, even if you've got Disney down the street.
Yeah.
It just stresses me out to think about having to get to Disney, having to like get into the, like go through the lines, get to the park, do the whole process. I'm like, that's just so much work to just like, eat in like a country club.
It's their
Right.
country club.
And so, so we didn't really talk about the biohazard issues, but apparently another thing that happens, this is not really conspiracy theory, but interesting fact, is that at least once a month they have to shut down rides because people are
Dumping body waste.
dumping ashes. And so the big place I heard was
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Small World.
It's a Small World, and the tower.
Oh, really?
Is that the haunted? Is that the haunted house? What's the haunted house?
No, you're probably there's
No,
2
you're-
different scary rides. There's
Okay.
Haunted Mansion,
A Haunted
which is
Mansion.
what you're thinking of,
Uh-huh.
and then Tower of Terror. I'm like, there's no way anybody was throwing
I don't-
dust in Tower of Terror because you would
You would
just
just put up-
breathe the
It
dust.
was Haunted Mansion. So
Yeah,
Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion is like a huge Disney obsession.
I
I-
love the Haunted Mansion.
And did you know that was also Ride First, Movie After?
Yeah.
No,
I don't really like. Okay, so did
That's
you?
because you were like
I-
not a kid.
didn't.
when those
I
movies
I
were
think
out.
I'm pretty certain I was born after the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like a code biohazard, but Kate, you just said, what do they call it?
Code grandma.
Which
Code
is
grandma.
so funny. And guys,
That
while
is
I
so
was there, I tried so hard to like pretend I was dumping grandma. Like I would dip my fingers in the water a little bit, acting like I was dropping something. They never called code grandma.
No.
Never
And you didn't
stopped.
see anyone else throwing
No, and
stuff.
I looked. I
What
looked
ride?
hard.
What ride would you guys want your ashes on?
Haunted Mansion.
Haunted Mansion would be kind of cool. What ride did I like a lot that was slow? The People Mover would be kind of funny because that's another old one.
The People Mover, like to get around the.
No, it's a ride.
Oh,
The People Mover is a ride.
Where is it?
In where Space Mountain is, they move you through like you go, it's like a tour of Tomorrowland.
a
Oh.
tour?
But you've never been on the People Mover?
Oh.
I'd probably want to be on a little, maybe in the safari. Sprinkle me with the animals. Maybe.
I thought we only had to choose between all of those.
Oh,
Yeah.
what was your
No,
question?
I just
Any ride?
No, I
Or-
mean, I'm not a Disney adult. I don't
Okay.
want my
Well,
ashes. I'm
that's-
sure you guys don't want your ashes either, but
No.
I was just a hypothetical.
Well,
if you
I'm
wanted your ashes.
I already told you what I want to do. I want to put me in a bag and plant a tree on me.
well, if you had to be spread in Disney, where would you want to be spread?
She said
Haunted.
Oh, I thought okay.
Haunted Mansion.
I maybe somewhere in Pandora would be kind of fun because it glows in the dark at night.
Wait a second, I take it back.
Yeah.
I want to be buried in the Star Wars land.
Oh, that's a good one because it is
Nerd alert.
insane there.
Hold on. I want someone to throw my ashes on Kylo Ren. Just
I think that could be a
So I
little
could touch him
feasible.
one
He's
time.
he's very visible there. He's like out all the time. He has a little show. He comes
I
out every
know.
single day.
he
Kate
picks out little
has-
girls.
Yeah,
to
he does.
talk
It's
to him,
really
right?
cute.
Yeah.
It's so adorable.
Kate also has such a crush on
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver.
100%. If you know, you know.
Sorry, Bourbon Boy. Your girl's got a crush.
He knows.
If I could pick any amusement park, I'd rather be spread at Harry Potter World maybe,
Mm.
or the amusement park I grew up going to in New Hampshire, Canby Lake Park. Put me in the lake. I think that's
Take
kind
me
of
to
iconic.
the lakes.
But-
all right.
I also We'll have a rule that don't cremate me if I died of suspicious causes.
Oh yeah, I mean we all know that
That's
no
like
one
a
here's getting
thing.
cremated.
Yeah.
No one's
Autopsy.
significant other is cremating them the day after their
No.
death.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so that's all I have. We'll kind of wrap this up. So, are there any of those conspiracy theories that you buy into, guys? We didn't really have a poll
No.
because this was just a lot.
No, I do believe that Disney's part of the Illuminati.
That is very interesting.
Because I know we did a whole thing on the Illuminati, but I am starting to believe in the New World
Well,
Order.
guys, talking about with the lizard people?
No,
Oh.
New World Order, Illuminati.
Well, yeah, we still have to do a New World
people.
Order episode.
Guys, I was driving around our not hometown, but like center of town.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say the specific restaurant to not for fear of revealing our location, but one of our frequented restaurants that we go to very often has a Freemason symbol on the top of the building. Like the upside down triangle with the G in the middle.
Oh my God.
Guys, I think our favorite restaurant to go to is like a Freemason hotspot. I was mind blown. I literally was sitting in traffic and I was like, oh my God.
No, Colleen.
Okay, Kate, what should the people do?
Yeah, scroll on down, leave us a 5-star review, leave us a comment, share us on your social media platforms, and thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
Woo.
We'll see you again
Next
Tuesday.
Maybe next Tuesday,
Next
Maggie.
Tuesday. See you then.